So I am on Bowen Island, British Columbia. This is breathwave facilitation training, the second level of breathwork, which is the path that I've kind of embarked on, learning more about how to access my inner world through the power of breath, which is a lot more intricate than I ever really imagined. Right here, this tree I'm sitting behind right now, or in front of, is a 1,000-year-old tree. It's the largest tree on this property. It's incredible. It emanates just like an outstanding energy, and you can just feel the wisdom of this tree. It was born in the year like 1000, and I thought this would be a beautiful place to talk about integration and what has come up for me. This is usually I do these videos, I talk about my intentions at the start of the retreat, and then I get into my integration and what all the lessons and insights at the end. So I forgot to do I didn't have time to do the opening intentions, so I'm kind of going to unpack it all right now. And this video will really be about what I've learned about facilitation and the things that have really come up about my own inner journey as well. So one of the beautiful parts about this training is we get the opportunity to have lessons and teachings from Robin, who is the leader of the facilitation training, and he's an amazing man. And we get the opportunity to actually go through our own personal breathing with one-on-one support from others who are practicing facilitation. And then we, of course, get the opportunity to actually practice our facilitation on other people in the group and the community, and it's been a beautiful experience. And the container has just been like so well held, and I'm just learning so much about having really authentic, open, safe space for people to really dive in. And I think that has been what has been so powerful for me to open up. It's been a really emotional 5 days. So I'm going to start off by talking about the things that have come up for me. So I had the chance to go through about 4, I think, personal sessions, and this is the first time that I've personally ever really been able to journey in a breath session, and go quite deep into my body. And what I've realized is the misalignments within my body versus my mind. It's like mind, body, and spirit, really this journey of alignment. And what has been revealed to me through my own breathing pattern is I don't breathe that deeply into my root chakra. And in these sessions, one of the things that you can observe is it's almost like I forget the word for it, but it's like you leave your body. Like as soon as I start breathing, I kind of leave my body and I stop breathing deeply. And what it's revealed to me is, I think, an unwillingness to access some of my deeper rooted healing stuff from my childhood. So what came up for me was a core wound from my birth, which I was aware of, but I didn't realize the implications of how I haven't really addressed it and how it's showing up for me in my life. But when I was born, I actually couldn't breathe. I had a condition called croup. And I think the first 3 or 4 days, I have to ask my parents, but I couldn't breathe. And I was on a respirator in order to breathe. And what I think it's showing up for, how it's showing up for me in my life is, I think it's a feeling of not feeling like I'm necessarily supposed to be here. And this deep feeling of my spiritual nature not being fully rooted in embodiment. And what also was coming up for me, so that was one of the wounds that came up for me, is just this essence of not being fully rooted in the earth. So what it's making me feel like is I really want to bring in practices into my life of grounding and rootedness and being embodied in a much deeper level, and then also aligning my embodiment with my higher intention. So sometimes I think my mind gets ahead of me in my journey, and my body's not necessarily aligned with the things that are true to my heart and the higher chakras. So that was one of the things that was revealed to me. And I think the second thing that was revealed to me in my own personal practice and breathing and being facilitated was a deep wounding and core feeling of not being supported by my mom. Now, the way that that was showing up and has showed up is, I think I come from a lineage of doing, like really accomplish-oriented people. It's like a Western approach to life. And most of my life, it's been this path of going after things. And it's something that I'm generally pretty good at and gets rewarded in society, of taking action, doing things. And I'm moving into this period of my life where I want to be more just peaceful and grounded. There's like a spiritual inclination to want to be seen for who I am and what I am, and not for necessarily what I've done and what I'm going to do and the things I can build. And this wounding, I think, comes from my mom from a very young age, of like really pushing me into trying to help me get, go somewhere and be someone and be successful and all those kinds of things, which this wounding, I think, goes back all the way back through her lineage and her father on her, and like this whole, it just keeps getting passed through. And at some level, you can never relax because there's always more to do. And at the period I'm entering in my life, I'm called to really deepen into my own beingness and my own awareness without having the compulsion to always have to do. But like many of us, we have this desire to want to be seen like from our parents, right? So much of our trauma comes from our parent wounds. And I think the feeling that has been I've identified in my own body is like, I'm not supported by my mother, and she doesn't see me. And the way that shows up is this compulsion to always have to do things. And, in the journey that I was in when I was breathing, I had this sense of like realizing that it extends not just to my like actual mom, but like a deeper feeling of like not being rooted and supported by Mother Earth, which is insane. It's not true. Of course I'm supported by Mother Earth, but it doesn't change the feeling, this feeling in the body. And it's residing and taking my root. Like the way it shows up in my breathing is an unwillingness to breathe really deeply, to really bring in life force energy, to bring spirit into my life, to breathe deeply into my body. And that's how it shows up in my breathing pattern. And so, the remedy is actually just breathing better. So that's the whole thing with this work, is learning about how our breathing pattern is actually showing up in the way we live our life and the way we experience reality. So, when I think about the idea of me not breathing deeply and this core wound of croup and not like really being able to breathe when I was young, it's like almost an insecurity of having enough. And I think it shows up in my life of like having to always try and accumulate, get more accomplishments, to be enough, to have enough, to like, it's like a fear kind of thing. And I want to correct my breathing and just like start learning how to breathe more deeply. And we were shown all sorts of beautiful tools to do this. But what's interesting is in this pattern, the core wound, if I had to summarize it, is this feeling of not being supported by Mother, not being supported by the feminine. And that's just how it's showing up for me on a personal level. And yeah, I'm excited. It really feels like a clearing to really start to go deeper into my own energetics, my own inner world, my own embodiment, and really telling myself that I do want to be here and I am supported by the feminine and I am supported by Mother Earth. And the twisted the affirmation on the other side of this is I am supported by Mother Earth. And I genuinely know that I am on an intellectual level. And it's really the breathing, learning how to breathe is about getting my body to catch up to the truth that I know from a mind point of view. So that feels nice to, it feels, it was really sad. I actually cried a lot during this retreat, just like, I think feeling how sad that is to have that narrative. And again, I was unaware of this consciously, of this narrative, but it's a narrative that lives in my body in that deeper sense of like, I am enough to breathe deeply. I am enough to bring in life force energy. And it's free and abundant, and it is our nature. And I am here now, and I'm here for a reason. And I want to be more rooted in my purpose and why I'm here and what I'm here to do and what I'm here to express to the world. Because one of my gifts I know is expression. I love expressing and talking about what I'm learning and learning lots of things and sharing. And I want to do more of that. I want to be here to, I want to be more rooted in my own purpose here with Mother Earth and supported by Mother Earth and in my own gifts. So I don't know if that all made sense, because I'm kind of just saying it all as it comes to me right now, but it's a lot to unpack. This is the first day of integration. I feel a lot of emotion, and I'm kind of cried out to be like, just a lot of beautiful cries, to be honest, like just really a deep softening. I feel like a lot of softening with myself, and I feel humbled by this retreat and by this training. And on the facilitation front, learning to facilitate this work, on first glance it just seems so basic, because it is our basic nature, and we don't really need to be educated on how to breathe. It's that's what it seems like when you first think about breath work in the most general sense, is like it's intuitive. The body knows how to do this. But as I get into the nuances, I'm realizing how helpful it can be, and how the way we breathe is the way that we live our lives. And as I'm starting to, I'm just at the beginning of this journey, but being able to sit with someone and hold space for them, and the level of mastery that Robin Clements, who's the leader of Breathwave, demonstrates, it's impeccable. And he's only just getting started, so it really is inspiring to me, like where this journey goes. And it's such a useful tool to be bringing into my life. So I'm actually super inspired to continue on with the trainings. There'll be another training coming up and more levels, and just deepening into my breath and moving my conscious experience into the way I breathe, and letting the unconscious come to the awareness so that it can be healed, and being able to heal the parts that are unseen, that have pull on the way I behave in the world and the way I show up. So that feels good to unpack some of that stuff. I feel a lot of like transition happening in my life, and a lot of things that I'm starting to feel more willing to let go of. I'm not even sure what all of them are, but it's like a deepening into presence and into the things that I know really make my heart sing. And really becoming more aware of the ways that I might subconsciously be self-sabotaging from deepening into my own awakening. In summary, though, I want to know and experience the truth of the support that is the reality of my life. I am supported by forces much greater than myself, And I want to walk my path knowing that, and being able to call in light beings to help me awaken. And you know, there's such a beauty even in these dark experiences. Like, it felt really good to be able to release and cry multiple times this week, and just like see parts of myself that I have never seen. Like, I had no idea how, like, the core wound from my birth coming up in such a prevalent way. It's like shocking. And that being revealed is such an opportunity to change my life and my relationship to really feeling like I am supposed to be here right now. Yeah, there's a reason I was born. And it got really emotional when I started to consider, like, when I was in these emotional states and just thinking about how many people must feel that all over the world, of like not sure that they want to be here or they're supposed to be here, on like a spiritual level, on an emotional level, on a body level. I mean, that's really that's the work, is like starting to look at all these aspects courageously without turning a cheek to it. So I'm really excited to keep deepening into my own healing with a new encouragement to myself, and then helping other people with this work. What I love too is that breath is so available and safe, but it's accessible to everybody. And most of the time when I've done deep work, I've worked with plant medicines, which I strongly think is a great path for most people, but it's not something that you can necessarily always do. Like, doing plant medicine journeys consistently all the time is not the most accessible thing. Breath, though, is something you can do every day in the mornings at your house, and then go to work, or do it in the evening before you go to bed. And just correcting and working with the breath pattern and learning to relax into the present moment, into life. So that's what I like about the breath technique. It's there for us all. And it's, as I learned many years ago now, like, breath is the life force energy. It is spirit moving through us. And when we start to allow it to move through us with ease, life is easier. And I still have a lot of control patterns in my breathing. And that's how that shows up for me in a lot of the things I do in my life, trying to control existence, trying to control things. And it's stressful, it takes energy, it's not easeful, and I want to be more peaceful. So I want to learn more about how to allow breath to move me. Yeah. Cheers.